2021, I finally decided to get into the Dark Souls games. Here are clips from some of my first experiences or interesting solutions and crazy deaths. This is the third time I faced this demon, if you count the first time you come across him, where I tried to defeat him using that stub that you're given, thinking it might be what you're supposed to do, and fought him for a good while without dying, which kind of let me know how he works. Then came back, fought him when I was supposed to, and I believe he smashed me. So, third time's a charm, perhaps? That's when I first noticed that the crow was up there. While I was walking around basking in the ambience of this area, coming to realize this game might really be something cool.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess, fate of the undead, right?
I'm just messing around with this battle axe, as I kind of thought that might turn out to be one of my main weapons, but ends up not really fitting the character. I started with the warrior. What I've been doing is modeling the character's progression upon the warrior's original stats, just to keep it kind of simple, with the extra attention to strength. So the strength is leveled the most, and then stamina and vitality, and occasionally some points into dexterity were needed. My thought was, if I follow the relative scaling that was already set up for the warrior, I'd probably be making pretty decent choices. And this is the second time on this boss. I had pretty much had him whooped the first time, but I didn't realize that you could block fire with your shield. So I just had them both gone and died. That was by myself. Then I came back with the helper here, Sunshine Man. I wasn't aware that they raise their hit points when you use somebody to help you. Right after this fight, I discovered that summoned allies will buff your enemies. And no, I don't mind using them in that case, because otherwise it would seem too much like a crutch. Fought this Capra Demon 2 or 3 times before defeating him, and he seemed easier. It seemed like the game was kind of taking a dive in its difficulty, at least for a while. Maybe I had gotten relatively powerful. I think I was buffing the weapons, and even buffing the armor, until I realized that was raising the weight on them. Yeah. This guy did pin me in with his dogs, which are now dead, before, and they trapped me in those pillars. And there was nowhere to move. I could not move, and I had nothing to do but die. That was either a case of video games, or you could make the case that it was like real life. If you were cornered between two pillars by a demon and two demon dogs, you kind of would be stuck there. I had heard that people weren't very impressed by crossbows. In first Dark Souls, at least, I found myself using them, and I found them useful. Particularly for enemies that are stationary and not easy to get to. Of course, it's just as fun to do that. I figure bows are for a dexterity built character, which is just not a dexterity character. Saving bows for a future playthrough. This is the first time I engaged this enemy, which I'd seen standing in place while I ran around the church doing things. That eventually triggered him. This is about the point of the game where I started learning to watch what the enemy was doing and sort of memorize their patterns, which I wasn't really memorizing, but I was starting to feel when they were and weren't going to attack. I suppose some of that owes to the animation being good enough to be able to tell when they really would follow up, and some of it would be just unconscious memory, experience, seeing it before, seeing their attacks over and over, and you just learn when the best time to jump in is. I used the Zweihander a whole lot in the early game. Got my strength up immediately to use it, because you did it there at the very beginning. And learned all about its distancing and slow movement. Thought it was ideal. It served me well later in the catacombs. Not much later. Too soon, really. This supposedly easy boss killed me a number of times. Say between 3 and 5, I don't even know. Those details aren't really my forte. So staying aware, pinpointing which one really is Pinwheel, it just wasn't something I was able to do visually. But it was pretty easy to destroy once you got close enough to him. Here is the very first Titanite I faced. This is the second time going against him. I was trying the crossbow before, using cover, but it didn't work for a number of reasons. I had seen a Titanite demon already before this, in the catacombs, I think. I'm not sure if I had been to... Oh yeah, I was just at the catacombs with the Pinwheel. Yeah, I saw a Titanite demon in there, but I did not face it. I ran the other direction. I had come up here once before, and I couldn't see this thing. I saw its health meter, but I didn't immediately see where it was, so I used a homeward bone and ran away. Because I had too much to lose at the time. But this is my return. So the first time I actually fought it would be this footage. Yeah. This enemy cooked my goose a number of times. I had picked up the crystal shield in the depths, which has some good magic, fire resistance, some good resistances. And while the crystal weapons and armor, just know they don't last that long, but the shield does. It's yeah, it's been no problem. I've used it a lot so far with where I am as I speak, and it's still got plenty of durability. This is the part where I started to realize that their wind-ups before their attacks, like with her slash, they tell you what direction to roll, more so than when to roll. So that really took my rolling to the next level, but it takes a while even after this fight for me to start really getting that. Good example of where the crossbow comes to use is against the magic user upcoming. Unfortunately, it seemed like 3 out of every 4 times I came back here after dying, I could not target this guy. Which, I don't know, I thought that was just video games. But it could be because he was further back, maybe? Just further back in that arcade. No. He has to be in just the perfect spot to target him. So yeah, I'd be trying to target him, get hit by his magic. And that way, that could knock me off the edge a few times. I found the perfect antidote for these guys. Then sprint forward, slash. Pretty good technique at this level. This is the first time I'm reaching this bridge, so I sat there and studied it for a while until I felt as confident as I could be that I might get across. This is the first time I actually faced this guy. And yeah, I actually looked ahead on this one just to get an idea of what his attacks might be, like what kind of armor I might ought to wear. If he'd be throwing lightning or what to defend against. But I just kind of saw that he was a chump. So I just ran in there and figured I might probably die. But I didn't count on him just falling down like this. Like a pissed off toddler. Kind of like those giants from earlier. Which aren't on this video, but they get frustrated and they'll just collapse for a while. I farmed these basic Sentinels for a while, which kind of taught me a few more things, especially about handling big enemies that move slowly. 1,500 souls each. At that point, that was worth it. This is just a little clip from the most video games area that I've found so far. Only in video games. Yeah, I probably a dozen times died here before I got through. Only in this area that I finally embraced the backstab. And did so mainly for efficiency, getting through these areas, especially when the enemies are respawning. Because, yeah, like so-and-so says, ain't nobody got time for that. nevertheless, most of the backstabs do feel like cheese. Like, unrealistic. Some of them, though, are realistic. Assassination style. And since this was the Sunshine Knight's summoning spot, I really wanted him to take on these elite golden Sentinels. Because I hadn't faced them yet. And I thought they were going to be super badass. So I got him to help me. Now, I was aware that this is the area where there's a tag team pair of bosses at the end of it. I didn't know anything about them, and I assumed I'd be going in alone. That's what I planned to do. But I already had the Sunshine Knight with me. So what I'm saying is this is the first time I've come through that door and faced this tag team. But with my own tag team, and I've gotten pretty good at doubles in shooter games. So I immediately saw he was going for the big guy, and I happily focused on the smaller one because I figured he didn't hit near as hard. And just got in the Zen mode, using everything I know, mainly to not die. I wasn't even conceptually aware that when one dies, the other gets his power. And yeah, I don't even notice it. I just thought that was him dying for our pleasure. Didn't realize this guy had picked up his powers. I later read that these guys are the gatekeepers for the difficulty level. The get good guys. So I imagine it'd be a lot different if I was by myself. Definitely a lot different tactics. I look forward to facing them again on another playthrough of this game with a completely different kind of character. Because, yeah. Sunshine Knight made it very easy for me to get behind. Whatever his name is ass. And go to town on him with Black Knight Sword. Plus I had pretty good lightning defense. Once I kept remembering that I could walk up here and just jump off on the enemies. Yeah, I was doing that a lot to farm these Sentinels. And they're just, to me, fun to fight, at least with a strength character with reach. This little alternate universe was kind of overwhelming. Like, as in the 3-on-1 was a bit overwhelming at first. And just, there's so many possibilities of what you can do. You can go up the stairs, and I went up the stairs and dropped down and just landed on all three of them. All three of them got hit by my drop attack. So they're really softened up. So subscribe for more of my alternative commentaries, and this will continue in part 2.